Finally, the gas tank. I've been watching different videos about how to clean gas tank inside because I took already the sender out. It's in a really bad condition. I can tell that when the car was left in the garage or in the barn, there was still fuel inside, which already dried, of course, and now this sender is stuck. I can tell it's a brand new sender which was installed there, but now it's totally seized, so I have to see if I will be able to unseize it. But the worst part is, let me give you a quick close-up. I don't know if you can see inside. That's all rust. So I was watching videos in YouTube, and the best way to clean that, according to most of the people there, is with muriatica. So I'm gonna have to find a way to close this hose. I'm gonna pour a lot of muriatic acid inside, and I'm gonna leave it on the side, top and bottom, and hopefully it's gonna clean. So first of all, I have to find a way to close this hole, and I think the best way is if I make a round piece of metal with some rubber there and use this clamp to hold it there for here. Then from the bottom I will see if I will be able to find a bolt with this thread. Okay, that's like almost 2 liters. That should be good for now. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure all the sides are wet. Started leaking already, but that's not a big deal. Wow. That's because it's creating gas. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm creating a bomb. So I'm gonna release the pressure. Yeah. Wow, I didn't realize it was gonna react. I'll try to give you a close-up again. So you see where there was gas on the bottom, it's still flaky and doesn't look good, but if you look up there, I'm sure this is area where there was no gas when the car was left to sit, and it cleaned up beautifully. So what I think, I'm gonna put inside some nuts and bolts and stuff, and I'm gonna start shaking it because I'm sure that probably from here up the situation is much better than what it is down there. So you can see now, that's the top, the side, everything looks very well, but down there is where the problems start. Yeah, all this is coming off. That's whatever is left of the gas. It's not rust, all the rust is gone now. But all this debris I have to clean up somehow. There must be an easier way to do that. Yes, there is. Okay, so I took all the bolts out, but I still have some gelled fuel inside. Now I don't have problem with rust anymore, now I have problem with gelled fuel. So I'm gonna pour some thinner inside. Okay, I think that's acceptable now. Still not perfect, but compared to the rust that I had before, I think that's absolutely acceptable. Now I better try it before it starts getting rusty again. Now that we finished inside, I'm gonna do also a little bit of facelift outside. I'm gonna sand all the loose paint, just a little, and then I'm gonna paint it. And because there are many spots where there's bare metal, I better spray some primer. While I'm waiting for the primer to dry, I'm gonna try to see if I can salvage this. It looks like I can take it apart from here. Yeah. Yep. Started moving again, slowly, slowly. Okay, I think that's enough. Now, we just gotta check if it actually sends any signal. This is how it goes. So now we have a low fuel level, and we have 250 ohms of resistance almost. The higher the level of the fuel goes, the lower the resistance, and now we have around 20 ohms of resistance. So this is how the gauge knows how much fuel do we have in the tank. So I managed to salvage it. I know the gas tank is supposed to be black, but I think this will be the Spitfire with the red gas tank. Okay, it's time to put my wire harness back into the car and start connecting all the electrical parts. But there's one major thing that I have to change. As you know, I switched from generator to alternator, and I don't need this voltage regulator on my firewall anymore, because that's the old one that was controlling the voltage coming out of the generator and going into all the accessories and lights and everything, and also it was controlling how and when the generator was charging the battery. So I don't need this anymore, but I don't want to leave the spot empty on the firewall. Plus, these are the wires that were going here, and I have to join some of them like literally like that, and I just don't want to do that and leave them hanging on the firewall. I want them to be connected here, but still to do the job that they are supposed to do with the alternator. So I will have to modify a little bit the voltage regulator, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do now. I hope you can see here there are some letters written here, and they are as follows: E for earth, D for dynamo. Dynamo is the generator. WL, that's for this small terminal here. WL means warning light. F stands for field, and B for battery. And when I disconnected the wires from the voltage regulator, I just numbered them with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting from here, and 6. So I had this number 1 wire, which stands for earth. It's not needed anymore, but I'm gonna still put it there, so that's done. Number 2 is my dynamo, the dynamo generator. So that's the same wire that I have somewhere else on the harness. That's right here. This is the main wire that comes out from the alternator. It was coming out from the generator, now it's going to come out from the alternator. And that's the small wire. It was going to the field terminal. So number 2 was going to dynamo. So that's the current that comes into the current voltage regulator. Number 3 is my warning light. So this wire is connected to the light on the dash that shows me if the generator is charging or not. Number 4 is, as we said, the wire that comes from the alternator or from the generator, and it's marked as field. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. And number 5 is going to my battery. Through this wire, my battery is gonna be charged. And number 6 is connected to my accessories. So, what do I have to do? Number 1, as we said, is gonna be connected to earth. Number 2 is still gonna be connected to the terminal here, but I have to make sure that it is always connected, because internally the voltage regulator will stop it at some point. So I'll have to make sure that it's always connected to these two, because this is where my charger, my battery is going to be connected, and this is where my accessories are going to be connected. So this and these two have to be always shortened somehow. And the two small terminals, one is the field, number 4, that comes from the alternator, and number 3 is my warning light on the dash. So literally they have to be hooked up like this. So if I don't use this, I have to join this with this, and I have to join all these together. That's what I have to do. But I want to do that through the current voltage regulator. Now, if we turn this around, we will see that the warning light is permanently connected to the wire that comes from the dynamo. So I have to disconnect this here somehow and connect it to this one where it's the field. And I'm going to open it and I'll see how this current goes from here to there and make sure that it's always closed. So let me see in which case this is connected to this. Okay. As we see now, when I click this, I have almost zero resistance, which means these two are shortened. So I'm gonna force it closed. And my alternator is always connected to my battery and my accessories. Okay, this is gonna take forever, so I'm gonna do something else. Okay, these two are now married together. Okay, as we said now, one goes to earth, two is this one, goes back to the second terminal, 3 and 4 are the small wires that are hooked up together. And 5 and 6 are permanently connected to 2. So the next part here, my X generator harness. This now has to go to the alternator, but my alternator has one small terminal and 2 big ones, and I have only 2 wires. Now the 2 big ones over there do exactly the same thing, so it doesn't really matter to which one I'm gonna connect the big wire. So in that case I'm gonna just connect it to one of them. Okay, so I have the small wire to the small terminal, the big wire to the big terminal, one of the big terminals, and I'm gonna pick it up. And with that, the conversion from generator to alternator is done. All I need to do now is just hook up the other wires as they were hooked up before, and I'll start the car to see if it's charging. Okay, so everything is wired here, and I hooked up my multimeter to the battery to see how is it gonna react when I start the car. I can't find my ignition switch. I don't know what I've done with it. That's why I hooked up this just this switch here, and this is how I put the ignition on, and this is how I start the car.